If you've heard about becoming a virtual assistant as a great way to make money online, but you have no idea what that is or how to become one, then this is the video for you. I'm here with Hannah Dixon, who is the ultimate trainer of virtual assistants. She's been training virtual assistants for 7 years and has trained 10 years, sorry, 10 years now. And how many people have you trained at this point?
Just over 26,000.
Wow. Wow. That's great. Cool. So I've asked you here today so that I can pick your brain and kind of inform people what is virtual assistance and to help them decide if it's the right path for them in order to become a digital nomad. So
Awesome.
first question, what is a virtual assistant?
So I use virtual assistant as an umbrella term. If you kind of just look at exactly what the words are and flip them, if you can if you're assisting somebody virtually, you could fall under that umbrella. So that means it could be anything from the traditional view of a virtual assistant, which is like general administration, calendar management, that kind of thing, all the way to web design, copywriting, graphic design, and sort of any sort of service-based sort of business you could build online. So I use that term quite broadly. And when I'm teaching virtual assistants, I tend to tell people to kind of move into an area that they excel in. But generally speaking, if you assist someone virtually, you can be considered a virtual assistant. Most of them work self-employed, and some can be on W-2 contracts as well.
Okay, wow. So it sounds like there are lots of things that you could do to be considered a virtual assistant.
Yes, absolutely. In fact, I always say there's like kind of three buckets that your tasks fall under. So there's administration, creative tasks, and technical tasks. And there's a little crossover, but the scope is really, really wide, which means it's really accessible.
Okay, cool. So tell us your story about becoming a virtual assistant and also a digital nomad.
Sure. So I started my journey 15 years ago traveling. I always wanted to travel. When I was young, I would spend hours and hours with my noses in books about travel. And when we first got computers, showing my age, I would spend ages researching like the best beaches in the world or the clearest water and all these kind of things. So my imagination was captured young. And when I left home, I decided I wanted to see the world. There was no question. I wasn't going to go to university. I was going to go see the world as soon as I could. And that's what I did. I traveled with work exchanges for a long time, working in farms, bars, hostels. I even worked with husky dogs in Austria for a while. That was awesome. And this was great, but I got to a point where I kind of it wasn't sustainable. I didn't have any money, in short.
Right.
It's important.
Yes,
And
I'm
actually
familiar.
there was this pivotal moment where I was in Italy and I was working on a construction site. And my shoes were full of cement and plaster. And I got invited to a party in Milan by some friends. And I showed up wearing these shoes. And they were like, "What are you going to wear?" And I was like, I guess I should get a job. So I grew up in London, UK. So I decided to go back to London and kind of just try and do the thing that everyone was bugging me to do, get a real job and do that whole thing. Luckily, I met someone who worked online at that time. So my plan was intercepted. And this person was working in SEO and web development. And all I heard, I didn't know what that meant. I was just like, wait, you work online. That means you can work from anywhere. So I was like, I could keep traveling and work online. Like, tell me everything you know. We started a company together where she was still doing the web development and SEO. And turned out her clients needed more things. They needed customer support. They needed social media management. So I kind of was learning by doing without knowing that the term virtual assistant existed, without knowing what a digital nomad was. And in time, it wasn't until one of my clients actually called me a virtual assistant. I was like, this is a thing. And so, I started researching and I started my own Facebook group. That company fell apart essentially. And I went my own way with the virtual assistant thing. I started a community just because at the time in the digital nomad space, it was very much one demographic. I really wanted to see more women, more people of color, more queer people like myself in the digital nomad space. So I started a community where I was kind of just sharing my travels and what I was doing online. And I got to a point where people began asking me like, how are you doing this? And so that's how the company and now training virtual assistants was born. But yeah, it started, from farm to freelancer, I always say.
Wow, I love that. From farm to freelancer. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. And so why is it that you have moved on to training others to become virtual assistants?
Yeah, so it was never my intention, in all honesty. I didn't like start this and go, oh, I'm going to teach this one day. Like I said, people asked me what I was doing. But the reason I've stuck with it, which I think is more important probably, is that this career really does provide so much accessibility and freedom and flexibility. All those things that were important to me that now I see other people benefiting from. It keeps me going. From having complete location independence, sometimes with remote jobs, location independence means in our geographic region still, or work in certain times. So for me, it's that absolute freedom of your location. It's the freedom to choose the clients you want to work with, the tasks you want to do, like giving people agency over their direction. This is why I do what I do. And again, on the terms in back to my comment on accessibility, people with chronic illness, people with disabilities, people who want to and need to work from home, it gives them that option as well. So I love what I do, and like I think I'm going to do this forever in some capacity, because I think it's just such a great career, and it's low barrier to entry. I think it's one of the best entry level positions which you can grow into something really big and have a great income from. So I think everybody should do it.
Totally. Yes. And I can absolutely relate to that desire for wanting that freedom, having that control over your schedule and when you work and who you work with. Yeah, I
Yeah.
totally get it.
Yeah.
So, who can become a VA?
So I could just say everybody. There's obviously a few things that you'll need to have. You need to have access to great Wi-Fi. You need to be able to have a laptop. Some people are like, can I do it on just a tablet? There's only so much you can do. So you need to be able to have access to a laptop, absolute basic understanding of how to work a computer. You can really learn everything else on the job and as you go. One of the things I always say is that even if the only thing you can do is like create a Word document, there is someone in the world that doesn't know how to do that. Therefore, in their eyes, you're the expert. So there's always something you can bring to the table. And this is, again, why I think, the accessibility is just so wide here. And almost anyone could do this from almost any country that has unrestricted access to the internet. And yeah,
Yeah,
it's pretty
totally.
broad.
Right. Yes, definitely. And this is also something that I find myself telling people when they tell me they want to be a digital nomad or they want to be able to work from home, but I don't have any of those skills. And I think we all sometimes need reminding that there are things that we can do that other people have no idea how to do, but it seems like simple and easy to us because we know how to do it. So it's important to kind of zoom out a little bit and really take stock of all of the skills that you have, because surely one of them would allow you to help someone else.
Absolutely. Yep.
Cool. So if someone wants to start, if they want to begin this journey of becoming a virtual assistant, what are the first steps?
So kind of what we just spoke on, taking stock of your experiences. So one thing I always recommend doing, you can do this on a piece of paper if you want, and kind of do 3 columns. In the first column, you can put, what can I do? So this is literally like a list of all the things you have done in the past, like whether this is making coffee for someone in the office, or this is running a multinational company, every single thing that you've done up to date. And I also want you to focus on things you've done in your personal life that could be brought over into this online space or into the work life. So it could just be good people management. I really know how to de-escalate difficult situations, that kind of thing. So all those soft skills, hard skills that you've gained, even if they seem really minute and small to you right now, write them all down, every single thing. Do not leave a stone unturned. Then next, what I want you to do is create another list saying, what do I actually enjoy? And start moving over the things that you actually have enjoyed. Again, not leaving out the things that you think are really small and insignificant, because they can be transferable skills as well. With that second one, what I also want people to do is to think about the things in their personal life that they enjoy as well. This is really important. I'll reach that in a minute, but the reason, in short, why it's important is because when you're moving into a sort of career, a self-employed career, there's literally no point moving from a job you don't like into something again that you don't like. So write down everything that you enjoy, because we're going to bring that into the equation as well here. Then in that final box, I want you to start marrying up some of these skills. So, how could these skills be put to use with the things that I enjoy doing most? So for an example, it may look like I'm really good at yoga. That seems insignificant in terms of my professional life, but it's not. I'm really good at yoga and I'm really good at customer support. Yoga studios need support on their Facebook pages. They need websites with the little chat box. There's going to be yoga online courses where they're going to need support on the back end. People are emailing to get their logins, all those kinds of things. So you really need to start thinking outside the box. But that's a really good way to start doing that, is writing down what you've done, what you're interested in, what you love doing out of those things, and then sort of mashing them together and being like, okay, actually, this can work. And to show you that this works again, a weird example, let's say you really like Mexican food, right? You've written that down. You're like, this seems dumb. It doesn't matter. You really love Mexican food. You know loads about Mexican food. It's your kind of thing. And you're really good at building websites randomly. Mexican restaurants need websites. Like, there's so many ways for you to start thinking about, how can I put my skills to use online? Every single business in some capacity needs an online presence. If they don't already have one, there's an opportunity there. If they already have one, they need help. So that's what I would say to new people coming into this.
Wow. That's already got some ideas churning in my head about things that I enjoy and I'm good at.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
So would anyone need some sort of like prerequisites before becoming a virtual assistant?
I'd say, yeah, some of these are kind of traits rather than things. It's a really lean business model. You don't need like an office. You can work from home. Like I said, you need the laptop, you need access to the internet. More importantly, I think you need things like a natural desire to want to be of service. It's an assistant role. If you don't like helping people, you can just stop the video and leave already. If you have that desire to want to support people and see their, ideas come to life, that's a really good thing to have. And then there are things that can be learned, but are good if you have an idea of how to sort of manage your own time, self-motivation, self-discipline. Again, those can be learned, something I'm learning every day still, 10 years in. And I guess like a flexible mindset, like recognizing that like if you're doing things one way and they're not working, it may just be time to change how you're doing things, because it works for thousands of people. So it works.
Right.
Sometimes it's just the way you're doing things. So being able to pick yourself up when something doesn't work and try something new without sort of just being like, it didn't work for me, that just having that flexible mindset.
Totally. Yes, I think flexibility is super important, and also adaptability. Like when people
Yes.
ask me about becoming a digital nomad, and I always tell them step one is to learn how to be adaptable. And
Yes.
this can apply to the work you're doing, your travels.
Yep.
You have to get really used to kind of going with the flow and,
Absolutely.
having a plan B and C. It's really important for managing the entire lifestyle as a whole.
Exactly. Yeah, no, I totally agree. And ultimately being a virtual assistant is a lifestyle business. So it's all intertwined in that way.
Right. Yes, 100%. So are there any other soft skills besides adaptability and flexibility and wanting to be of service that you would recommend people have, or at least begin to develop?
Well, I always think that, I'm not sure if it's considered a skill or more a way of thinking. You do become a business owner when you become a virtual assistant. You're generally not, while there are circumstances you can be an employee as a VA. Most of the time you're self-employed, you're, an independent contractor. So you're a business owner, you're an entrepreneur, having a bit of an entrepreneurial spirit. If you're someone who's always like fancied the idea of doing something on your own, like this could be a really good way to get started with everything. So the entrepreneurial spirit, what else? Flexibility, adaptability, we talked about that. I'd say also fostering a sort of sense of collaboration over competition, as cliche as that is. when you're sort of a freelancer VA type thing, you are going to be reliant on referrals a lot of the time. And if you see other VAs as competition, you're really limiting yourself. When in the community that I run, we have people from all different disciplines under the umbrella of virtual assistants coming together to support one another. So, they're job sharing, they're telling their clients, you know what, I don't do copywriting, but I know somebody who does. So kind of trying to foster the sense of community is like a really big part of your career. Being a lone wolf in this career is not always the most fruitful. So if you're someone who really enjoys community and building a network, this is going to be a really good trait for you to have.
Yes. Works well with others is certainly something that
summarized.
Yeah, you will want people to say about you is if you want to become a VA. I'd say it's up there in terms of job requirements. Awesome. Okay. Well, last but certainly not least question, how much can a VA make?
So there are sort of milestones that I can give you. It's going to be a sliding scale, and it's going to be different depending on the project and the person, all kinds of things. But generally speaking, I'd say there's like the base rate. So I'm going to do it on hourly. A lot of VAs start on hourly, move into retainers. For entry-level virtual assistants, you're looking at anywhere between $15 and $25 an hour. That's for things like, maybe some basic customer support, maybe some basic Canva graphics, that kind of thing. Then you've got intermediate skill sets. I'd say that ranges anywhere from 25 up to 40 these days. That can be social media management. That can be a little bit of like, less essential copywriting. That can be basic web maintenance. But it can also be customer support at a higher level. It can also be general administration at a higher level, that kind of thing. Then you've got the sort of pro range, which is anywhere from 40 to you name the price. Generally speaking, between $40 and $100. These are people who sort of maybe move into project management, online business management, really honing in on their sort of technical skills, perhaps video editing, audio editing, that kind of thing. And then, of course, the trajectories beyond that. One of the things I always say is VAs are really well positioned to do consulting or to do affiliate marketing. When you've really honed in your skills, there's only so much time you have, right? So what if you start as well adding into the mix consulting on Facebook ads? Maybe you've got really good at social media marketing. You can consult with companies on their Facebook ads and charge them $350 an hour on top of your retainer clients. So I think this career is great because the income potential is so high, and the more you learn, the more you can earn.
Exactly. There's not really like a ceiling per se.
Yeah, exactly.
You have a free 5-day VA challenge that will help people start on this path to becoming a virtual assistant. So tell me a little bit more about that.
Sure. We run this every 2 months. So if it's not open at the time of you watching this, get on the wait list. You'll get a bunch of resources in the meantime. So in this 5 days, we're going to support you in day one. We kind of do what I spoke about earlier with the 3 columns. We do a little bit different and a bit more in depth, but we really start sort of like pulling out those skills that you have and helping you find a way to package them that could work for clients. So that's what we do day one. Right away, what can you do? Who can you help? Even if it seems a little bit scary, but you learn by doing. And that's one of the things we're really trying to get you to do when you take part. Day 2, we start talking about money already. There's a really cool pricing calculator that you can punch in all your existing numbers and see what your minimum base rate would need to be in order for this to work. Day 3, we talk about lifestyle design, because as we talked about earlier, this is a lifestyle business. So how this career can actually, give you the kind of life that you're looking for and what it might look like. And we have some examples of what it's looked like for other people who have gone through this program. And day 4 and day 5 is always a surprise. So I can't tell you, because it's really fun and it's really powerful stuff. And the only thing I will say is that from absolutely zero experience to taking this program, many people are landing their first paying client as a result of taking part. So those day 4 and day 5 tasks, they're a little scary. And if you stay the race, you can have really great results. It's going to take about an hour a day of your time, maybe 2 hours on the first day, depending on how deep you want to go. But you can do that on your own time. It's very flexible. So yeah, I feel like there's nothing to lose. It's lots of fun, and it'll give you a lot of clarity.
Yeah, totally. And I can vouch for this challenge because I've joined it myself. multiple times. I am a
Yay.
repeat offender for the 5-day PA challenge. For not only the content, but also the community. Like,
Yeah.
it's a really great opportunity to meet and network and chat with other like-minded people with the same goals and aspirations as you. And it's just, I'm all about that community. And I
Yeah,
think
I
that
think
you've
that's a
done a really
big
good
part of
job
it.
of
Thank
cultivating
you.
a good one.
Thank you.
Awesome.
That's very kind.
Yeah, for sure. Well, do you have anything else that you would like for people to know? I'm gonna link to your website and
Yep.
the 5-day challenge and all of that in the description below the video. But is there anything else you'd like to tell us?
Yeah, I would just like to end this by saying that a lot of us dream about living this lifestyle or having work like this, but not many of us do it. So don't let it just be a dream. Do it too.
Yes, and I will second that 100%. All right, awesome. Well, thank you so much for watching, and we'll chat with you guys in the comments.
Thanks for